Who else want to go, sis?
Go ahead.
So if y'all were of legal voting age, who would y'all want to vote for? Like Republican or Democrat, you know, out of the race, in the race, who in your mind would be like, oh, I want that person to be my president?
At first, okay, so I wanted Andrew Yang to be president because, like, thank you. So, like, Andrew Yang, he had, like, such a really big picture about what he had such, like, a big picture about what he wanted the U.S. to be. He was, like, really, he wasn't, like, the other politicians out there. Like, he didn't drag people's names in the mud. He didn't, like, he always talked about what he wanted to do for America instead of, like, saying, oh, this person did this. And he didn't, like, disparage people like everybody else did in the debates. And it's just annoying because the news didn't cover him as well. And also, like, he didn't get, like, asked questions during the debates either, which, like, really blew me, so.
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of with, like, a lot, and I don't know for sure. I don't have the facts. But I feel like I'm with a lot of the Democratic Party in the fact of the idea that a lot of us are voting, and it's really sad, but a lot of us are voting out of fear because we're scared that Donald Trump is going to get reelected, right? And I feel like that's something that everybody has on the back of their mind. Who is willing to kind of take on Trump? And I think because Biden took that stance kind of throughout the entire race of him saying, hey, look, I was the vice president, I've done this before, and I'm just at that point where they might vote me in. That's why a lot of people are kind of gearing towards him. And I feel like that's why it's kind of gearing towards me, because although I wish I could vote on simply how I believe, at this point I'm just kind of so scared of the future of America that I want to vote for somebody who's at least competent. So that's kind of why my vote goes to Biden.
In the beginning, I was wanting Tulsi Gabbard to run. I really liked her. But now, I don't feel like any candidate is good enough, honestly. None of them are good. Since Obama, I haven't ever seen a...
Yeah.
That's on period.
Honestly.
And do you guys think it's like, in a sense, like the media itself is kind of getting these people who may be like super far left or super far right in order to kind of gain something out of it?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I have no idea, like, any of the people that y'all named, honestly. Yeah. And I don't know if it's like due to uneducation on my part, but it's just like in the media, the only people I see or saw for it was like Bloomberg and Bernie.
Right.
Like those are the people that really I had geared towards me. I didn't have any opportunity to learn about an Andrew Yang or, I'm sorry, what's her name? Tulsi. I didn't have those people like in my mind frame, you know? And also I feel like based off my demographic, like a 6-year-old Nigerian girl who lives in a predominantly Democratic county, I don't even get to hear about any other parties or any other alternatives to just Democrat or Republican.
That is true. I didn't even know that there were other Democratic parties.
I thought there were only
the
two.
other like political parties. Right, I only thought there were two.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think?
Oh, I was just gonna add, that's the thing with Bloomberg, like he has all these ads on YouTube and everything. It's like, vote for Michael Bloomberg. He came from a middle-class family, etc., etc., etc. And that's smart on his part because more people are getting to know him and getting to, like, because most people don't really pay attention to the stuff like debates for the Democratic debate and all that. So Michael Bloomberg getting his name out was very smart. But he used his own finances to do that because he's a billionaire. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
How do you guys feel about like the idea of like, and this is what I've seen a lot in this race. I was like just going onto my like my hip hop station, right? And like I see like Bloomberg for Black America. Like you see, like it was a lot of pandering, and like I see, even like with Biden, like I heard him and he said, and his like whole speech through the whole radio show was that I was under Obama, I was under Obama, I was for Obama, so I should be. So it's like this idea of pandering towards people of color, which all of us are here today. How do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel? Do you feel like it's good because we're getting our representation, or do you think it's kind of bad?
I feel it's absolutely disgusting. I think it's what Kamala did as well.
Yes.
She really tried to lure us in by pulling the black word.
Yeah.
It's so sad that people have to do that to get someone else to pull in their opinions. It's so,
For sure. Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't just Biden who did that. I think that was not everybody, but there was like a lot of Democratic candidates who were like, oh, they did something to connect to Obama in some sort of way. Because Obama, I would say he was well loved by like America. So like I feel like he was like, so because of that and because he was like the first black president, of course, so because of that they're like, okay, if I could be connected to Obama in some sort of way, I can get some votes. And I really agree that there is a lot of pandering toward like the people of color, especially like Andrew Yang too. I'm not gonna lie, he did do a lot of Asian jokes which were like really disgusting. I'm not even gonna lie, but like, yeah. Oh, so like back to your question, I feel like you should not have to like do all that stuff and try to connect to like the people of color in some sort of way. If you are competent enough, then I feel like that should be enough, and people would see that. Besides like doing all the race stuff. So
something I would like to add though is like in government the other day, like Mr. Eric, he told me like the African American community is very conservative, and they vote because you like black people. Like we're looking for that. Like we're not looking for anything else besides that, you know. And like while that's sad, it's still a thing that I can recognize. Because I was talking to my mom, and I was like, "Oh, like who are you voting for? Like, can you do Bernie by proxy, please?" And then she was like, "No, like forget the socialists, whatever, whatever." I was like, "Yo, like that's real intense. Like that's a very intense of you." But yeah, they don't. The pandering works in a way, so I don't see it stopping because the pandering does work. Like my mom's about to vote for Biden because he was under Obama. That's like the sole reason.
So do you guys feel like in general, like because there's a bunch of like negative side effects to that, right? If that's what's getting shown in our face, that's what we're gonna look for, right? But do you guys feel like at the same time, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, somebody can argue that, well, at least we're trying to like represent you or mention you in that sense, or kind of like show that you're here, rather than just kind of forgetting you in total and just focusing on the majority. What do you guys think about that?
Pandering is different from representation, though.
Right.
Like in a complete, because pandering is like, yeah, you're doing all this during the campaign, but you have to live up to it now. Like you have my vote, but now you have to do all the things that you promised.
Yeah.
So like, while it's nice that you're pandering, it doesn't really mean anything if you don't follow through.
right.
Yeah.
So.
I think that was powerful. Yeah.
I think the same thing's happening with other minority communities, like the gay communities. A lot of candidates who are against LGBTQ communities are now very supportive, suddenly, as it's trending. Like many other businesses, they're promoting their products all towards these minority communities when they were totally against it before. So it's so sad.
I remember it was like during June there was like Listerine. They had like the whole rainbow thing. I was just like, okay, you need to stop. I love the LGBTQ community as much as the next guy, but this is too much. This is pandering.
But how is like so? I'm just asking once again, playing devil's advocate here. If I were to put like that rainbow around, just trying to show that, I'm like, do you think that's pandering or do you think that's just representation?
I think if you are, I feel like representation is more like you have an LGBT person at your table, like you have them in your ear, you have them in a position of power. Pandering is like you're just any white cis dude saying all of these things, but you're not taking any action. Okay. Like representation would be having a person of color, would be having a person of the LGBT community in your table and making decisions with you. That's the difference to me.
Quick question for you guys. Do you guys think that Bloomberg was a better candidate because he used his money for his campaign?
No. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, you think he made him a worse candidate for using his own money?
Yes, because it showed him. Because I feel like all that money that you used for that campaign, because it was like $500 million. You could honestly do that. You could honestly like save neighborhoods, like low-income neighborhoods with that. You could just like make a better future for someone else. It could be more than what you could have done as president. Because like when you're president, it's like a process. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to go through the Congress and you have to pass bills to like make sure that people are like have better lives. But as a billionaire, you have autonomy with your money. You could honestly like here is like $500, go nuts. And like so.
But instead of that, he's using it for his own benefit, his own fame.
And like if he doesn't win, then there's like benefits to like if you don't win, you're a candidate. Like you go on a book tour and things like that. So it's just like
What about the argument that about those who use who collect money from other corporations that they're being sold to them after they're elected as president, or if they're elected as president?
Like corporate PACs. Like what makes it different from Bloomberg, who's using his own corporation to like fund him? Is there a difference?
I mean, there's a difference in the way that like the business or the person that's pulling the strings, it's yourself now.
Yeah.
But it's still like, it wasn't for the right reasons is what I think. Like campaign spending in its own right kind of bothers me. Like how much people are willing to spend on campaigns. As you mentioned, you could just fix it instead of campaigning. You could just fix the problems that you're talking about, you know? Which is why sometimes I just think like philanthropy, if a philanthropist ran for president, then maybe I'd be like, okay, like you already did something.
Yeah.
Like I'll give it to you now. Like you have my vote, you already did something. But then like with other candidates, like, okay, here are all of your promises. Now I just have to trust it and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I think it was like important, like what you guys were saying about the idea of like kind of putting it into your community, because you're right. Like the idea of like if you were to like if you really wanted to do all that stuff, like you guys said, you would have already done it. And it shows that there's another like alternative kind of perspective that they're trying to kind of push into the government. Which I understand that pretty much every individual has like another reason, an alternative. But I feel like the fact that like you're able to put it out there shows something about kind of like your character.
All right, so we can have to end it off here, y'all, because we're like kind of out of time. But I just want to thank you guys for listening real quick. So you guys could like, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel, you know what I'm saying, give it a like, comment down below, comment down below your opinions, and also follow us on our other social medias that will be in the description box below. Thank y'all.
Thank you.